Alright, now I'm going to talk about the VOX AC15 and AC30. I've owned both of these amplifiers. One's 15 watts with one speaker, the other's two speakers at 30 watts. Both have unbelievable reverb, the best tremolo I think I've heard on any amp, except for like really expensive amplifiers. But in terms of, you know, in Australia, under $1,000 or under $800 for the smaller one, I think it's got the best tremolo on the market. It sounds fantastic and it like wipes the floor with the Delta Blues. I think they're well made. They are made in China, but I never had any problems with either of mine. They put in good tubes straight off the shelf, so you don't have to go retubing it unless you choose to. You basically got one channel with a drive control or just basically like a straight through mode. So just a master volume as a second channel, but it's really only one channel. The AC30 you can daisy chain, so you've essentially got two gain stages, but I never use that. Like I said, the reverb's great. They come with good quality speakers. Even though the greenbacks are made in China, they sound awesome. And I actually replaced mine with English G12 neodymium speaker, which was worth like $300 at the time. And I went back to my original speaker that was in there. I think they sound fantastic. And you've got to really use your ears when you try these amps. You can get a lot of different sounds, from nice edgy blues all the way through to classic rock. And if you like that classic rock kind of sound, you're gonna get it. Having that extra chime really works well with the humbuckers. What don't I like about these amps? They're both really, really heavy. The AC30 was a killer. I used to tear my neck muscles just getting it in and out of my little car at the time. That's one thing that I just didn't like. Another sort of disadvantage to them is that they never came with a cover. I used to have to buy covers for them, which was a little bit of a pain in the ass. But if you do have an AC15, you can then go buy like a Hot Rod Deluxe cover and just put it on. The 30, I actually had to buy one off eBay, which was actually really good. But, you know, it was just having to buy that extra. Another thing I think VOX need to do is just include their foot switch, which is another good thing about that amp. When you do get it, you can turn the reverb on and off, or the trem on and off, and that is just unreal. It just saves you having to have, you know, an extra trem pedal on the floor. You can use the built-in one in the amp, which absolutely leaves the quality of a pedal for dead. Now, I've done a video on that also online, and it's really, really good. So if you're into tremolo in your music, check out the VOX. It's great. The only other disadvantage I can think of right now is the AC15. Although it's quite loud in like a bedroom setting, at a loud gig they do get a little bit lost. If you're miking up, they're totally cool. They sound chuggy, they sound good. They do have a really scooped midsection though, so they don't sort of push out through the mix. They're more of a top end sort of sparkle in the mix. They're a very, very different sound to say Rick's Eric Clapton Tremolux amp. They don't have that thick mids, so you're not going to get that thick full sound, but a lot of people don't want that either. So if you're after that typical country sort of sound, or just something with a bit more edge maybe, the VOX is a seriously cool amp to go for. There's not a whole lot of disadvantages to them. I've had great experiences with them. I played both of my amps to death, recorded an album with them. I used both of these amps for over a year live, and almost 2 years at live actually, and they never let me down. That's a great thing about them. If you want to change the speaker, getting into them is a real big pain in the ass. So like I said, I ended up using just the stock speakers, but I did make an effort to change the speaker out of the AC30. Ended up changing it back. I left one original and put the other G12 neodymium in the top side. And yeah, I ended up going back because it just lost something that was very typical of a VOX amplifier. So they're both good. If you like loud amps, get the AC30, but just remember it's going to kid you back. And if you play in a band that can handle or mic up at a lower volume, then the 15's the way to go. Don't buy a 30 unless you need raw volume, and they fill the room like nobody's business. Those AC30s, they're unbelievable.